All right, I think we are on. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Good morning if you're joining us from Europe, and good afternoon for those joining us from here in Australia. We are running a truly global webinar today. That shows that sustainability reporting is definitely topical everywhere at the moment. So it's glad to see this. So today we're here. So we're going to talk about sustainability reporting for small businesses. And we're going to dissect an award-winning report that was written by James here with us. So this report was done for a manufacturing business called Flakes. But James is going to tell us a bit more about it in a moment. I'm going to start with introducing myself. So my name is Julian Bertoli. So I'm based in Australia and I run a sustainability marketing agency called G Transition. So we help businesses with communicating their impacts, and we also help climate tech businesses with all their marketing needs. I will hand over to James to do a quick intro of himself.
Yes, thank you very much, Julian. Yeah, good morning to everyone in Europe and good afternoon to those in Australia. So yeah, my name's James. I'm the founder of Magnetize, and yeah, I have been within marketing and communications for 25 years, and actually throughout that whole period, I've also been a scuba diver. And when I started out, things looked like this on the left, pretty amazing. And then as the years went by, sadly, it was increasingly becoming this image on the right, and that really inspired me. I was thinking, okay, well, so I had a very kind of first-hand experience with climate change and the environmental issues, and also wondered if I was part of the problem with flying around the world and seeing these amazing places. So actually in 2018 I decided, okay, enough is enough. I want to be part of the solution, not be part of the problem. And so I went back to school. I went to Copenhagen Business School. I took an MBA with a focus on sustainability. And sustainability has been at the heart of everything that I've done since then. So Magnetize is also a sustainability communications agency, and the vision of the business is for the most sustainable products to be the top selling products. That's what we need to get to if we want to start changing the course of some of the issues that we see around the world. So therefore, the mission of Magnetize is to help companies turn sustainability into a competitive advantage. So if you're a company that is taking steps to improve the environmental performance, to improve the social performance of the business or its products, then I want to help you turn that into increased sales and make sure that customers know that there is a better option in the market. So how do we do that at Magnetize? It's through sustainability marketing and communications, both the strategy and the content. So strategy, positioning, messaging, making the best possible resonating claims and messages, while making sure that we're not getting into greenwashing territory. And that's across corporate communications and product communications. So you might have more environmentally friendly version of your product that you want to launch, or you might want to start positioning your company as doing the right thing. So I can help with both of those things, and then creating all of the materials that you'll need to take to market. But I also help companies with their core sustainability journey, with the strategy and the execution. So getting that initial plan in place. Okay, what are the key issues that we need to be working on? What are the steps that we're going to take? Setting some longer term goals that we're going to be working towards. And then on the right hand side, how do we turn that into daily action? Making sure the right members of the team, the staff are involved and moving things forward. So that's in a nutshell Magnetize. And our customers are small, medium, large size businesses. You'll see, as for large, if you're from Denmark, which is where I've been living, jeg taler også dansk. So I've been here in Denmark for a few years now. DFDS and Novozymes, will be big names that you recognize. And if you're from Australia, Suncorp, that's an Australian bank that Julian and I have worked on together. But it's all kinds of different industries, and from small, medium, and large. And today, you see in the bottom left-hand corner the Phosphorus logo, and those are really the company that we want to use as a case study today. And just to introduce them very briefly, so they are a Danish supplier of pillows and duvets, and they sell internationally, yes, in Denmark, but in the Far East, across Europe, through various different retailers and distributors, and they are continuing to expand, and they're using sustainability, the work that they're doing with sustainability, as a strategic part of their brand. Even though they're still early in their journey, you can do that. And we started working together in 2021. When I helped them create their first formal sustainability strategy, and then just a few months, perhaps half a year, after that, we published their first sustainability report, and that's the report that we're going to go through today. Sustainability is now part of their daily agenda, and we've been working on all kinds of reports and other communications together. And Phosphorus has been quite a popular example within the Danish business community, because it's a relatively small business, 35 employees, and their first report, which we made together, won an award. It was awarded one of the best sustainability reports by a small and medium-sized business by the UN Global Compact in Denmark and the Association of Danish Auditors. But it's also been used by various different business communities, business organizations, used as a case study in their communications and how they help their members learn. So that's hopefully a little intro. And I think, Julian, we would like to know a little bit about our audience as well, right?
Yes, for sure. No, thanks, James. I'm pretty excited to hear more about the reports and the Phosphorus reports in a moment. But before we go into the details of it, we just wanted to give you a quick overview of our agenda today. So yes, we're going to go through the report, but we also want to go through the why reporting, the when, the what goes into the report, and how we get to do it. Specifically, again, for small and medium-sized businesses, we're not looking at mandatory reporting here, but more for the smaller end of town. So yes, we would like to know a bit more about who is in the room and where you are at in your sustainability reporting process. So I've got just a couple of questions for you, so we have a bit of an idea. So I'm going to launch the first one now. I'd like to know when the audience here is planning to release your first sustainability report. Is it within the next 6 months? Is it 6 to 12 months? Is it 12 plus months? Or have you already released the first one? So I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that. Currently looking at about next 6 months and 6 to 12 months. We're going to wait a little bit more to see if anyone else wants to give us a bit of an answer. Okay, so while we gather some responses, I've got another one for you. I'd like to hear what are your main drivers behind reporting. So we've got a few options there, from raising finance to appealing to customers and prospects, attracting and retaining employees, regulatory compliance, and so on. So just a few reasons that might prompt your will to create a report. All right, so these are live. It's not working, as you can see. I'm not sure why it's not working. Okay. Okay, something is going on. Okay, all right. Forget about the questions. For some reason, it seems like no one can see them. Very
Okay,
strange.
too bad. Oh, that's
Yeah,
a shame.
yeah, very strange. Okay, all right, no worries at all.
But please, please put your answers in the chat. In
Yeah,
any case,
yes,
it's good for us. For everyone to see, what your plans are. When are you going to be releasing your next report, and what the main drivers are. Is it to meet customer demands, employee demands? Whatever it might be. Just put something in the chat there. That will work instead.
thank you, guys. All right. Well, I think James, let's move on to the next slide then. Okay, so the why would we want to have a sustainability report? Sorry, we might have another technical issue. I don't know. For me, I just don't see the slide fully displayed. James, do
Okay.
you want to go back and come again? It might just be on my end, but okay, yeah, I can see this one. Should come back one slide. Okay, yeah, it's working now. Okay, all right, we're gonna get there. So why do we want to make a sustainability report? So of course, as an SMB, we usually we don't need to report. There is no mandatory requirements to do so. And even in Australia, for example, we're just getting started with mandatory reporting for the larger organizations. But even as an SMB, you might be working with larger organizations that do need to report, and you might be part of their value chain. If that's the case, then you will probably be asked to provide information to help them with their own reporting. So getting a report together is already putting you ahead of the competition, because you're already able to provide that information that is going to be required by your customers. And if you don't have that information, if you don't have your ducks in a row, that means maybe your customers will go elsewhere to find what they need. So getting that handy is going to be helpful for your customers. You might also be trying to raise money or apply to grants, and if that's the case, then you might know that there's more and more requirements to there's more and more requirements to provide sustainability credentials to get access to those to those investments. A lot of investors are also trying to green their portfolio, so they will be looking at investments that bring that extra element of sustainability. So that's potentially another reason why you would want to have a report like this. Something that is also important is attracting and retaining employees. So this becomes more and more true, especially with the younger generation. People want to work with companies that take that are responsible, or that take their responsibility seriously, and their impact, the environmental and social impacts. So when you write a report, you can give that information to those potential employees, which will help you attract the right talent and also retain them, obviously. And overall, so doing an annual report can help you demonstrate that you take your impact very seriously to any of your major stakeholders, and that's a good way to build trust and enhance your reputation, and also another way to differentiate from your competitors. So there are many reasons as to why we would want to do a sustainability report. And I think, James, on your next slide, you have a couple of good examples on what that looks like, especially from what was the reason why the founder of Postflakes wanted to create that report in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got a couple of examples here. So this is Postflakes. This is the founder, Adam. He was totally responsible for bringing Postflakes onto their sustainability journey. And so he's talked about the benefits of reporting to his business. And I'm just going to step through this quote where, part by part. We wanted our employees to know where we stand, and it turns out we're not as bad as we thought. We stand taller now. So I'll just explain that. In their pillows and duvets, they're using synthetic material, made out of plastics, and whereas their competitors are using down and feather. So they automatically thought, oh, we're one of the bad guys because we're using plastic materials in our products. But actually, it turns out when they started going down the reporting road and they started gathering more information, more data, making more calculations, that they were actually not nearly as bad as they thought they were. And in fact, there's a very comprehensive study coming out this autumn, which will show some actually quite surprising results compared to down and feather pillows and duvets. So there was very much this this internal pride. Okay, we're not one of the bad guys that we thought that we were. Secondly, in front of customers, the report puts customers at ease, especially in Europe, USA, Canada, and South Africa, where sustainability is important. So Adam is trying to find new distribution and retail partners who are going to bring these products into the market and grow the business. And in those initial meetings to get to know each other, he's able to say, we understand what the key issues are for our business, sustainability wise. Here's our plan for doing it. Here's our targets, and here's our progress. And immediately, customers are reassured by that. And then, lastly, the positive feedback that they got from the market got the whole management team on board, and the report was instrumental in attracting our new CEO. So when they started out on their sustainability journey, not everyone from the management team was enthusiastic about it. Most were, but there were one or two people like, oh, Rich, should I really be spending time on this? Is it really valuable to the business? I'm super busy with all the other stuff I need to do. But when they saw that, the feedback from the stakeholders, they realized, okay, all right, I get it. I'm on board now. This is valuable. We should be doing this. I'm part of it. And then when Adam decided to step down last year from CEO position and wanted to hire a new CEO, the new CEO saw these reports and recognized, okay, this is a company that understands that this is a mega trend that it can't ignore, that it wants to build its brand based on sustainability and do the right thing, and this is going to be a great foundation for success, and he wanted to be part of that journey. So that was the Fosplates example, and then just one much shorter example. And this is an example appealing to investors. Again, a report that I created last year for a company called Rematch. What Emil said was the new investors were impressed by the report, and it had a great influence on the transaction going through at the valuation we wanted. It showcased that we were a green asset, not a regular company. So just huge immediate return on investment that Rematch got from their report. So I imagine that there will be similar opportunities for your business as well.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, James. These are really good examples, I think. Okay, so moving on to the next slide, I think we want to talk about the when. So when are we ready to start reporting? That's the question we often hear, right? Is, we feel like we're not ready to report, we don't have enough. So when is the right moment? Well, there's no hard rule as to when we want to start reporting, but we can find a few elements, a few criteria that show that your business is ready for that. The first thing is the leadership commitment. So we want to make sure that we've got the management and the board ready and committed to the long-term the long-term investment into sustainability, because we're not looking at just a one-year effort. That's going to be a multi-year effort. And so having that support from the board, from the leadership, is going to make all the difference. Because we need a strategic direction, and we also need the resources that are going to help us sustain that agenda over the years. Substance to share. So if you've already implemented some sustainability, some sustainability initiatives, if you have some data that is available, or you've got stories you can share, then you already have substance, right? But if that's your first report, you might not have all of that. You might just have goals and maybe a plan already. And that's also enough, right? That's also substance that you can share. Because again, this is a multi-year journey. So we've got to start somewhere. And all we need is that desire to improve. So that first year might be just about the goals and how you're going to get there. That's going to set your baseline for the years to come. And in the coming years, you will be looking at the first results and how you're tracking along based on that first year, on that first baseline that you set up. So the desire to improve is also another one. And we've got transparency and accountability. And another thing that's quite important, because you want to be willing to show a comprehensive and honest view of your sustainability journey. So that means the successes, but that means also the challenges, the challenges, the obstacles that you're facing along the way. And you actually want to show that that's going to build that authenticity that you need across your reporting and across your sustainability initiatives overall. And the accountability part is important as well. When you start putting those details in the reports, that's going to be fairly deep. Then that keeps you accountable, and that just pushes you to continue over the years to come.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And I think there's another aspect to the when question, and that is actually what time of year. A lot of companies, they will create, publish their sustainability report, a couple of months or so after the end of their budgeting year, after the end of their fiscal financial year, and that's very normal to do it that way. But actually, I've been working with a couple of companies, over the summer that are not doing it that way. They can't wait. They don't want to wait until the end of the year, and then a couple of months after that. They understand. They feel the pressure from their stakeholders to get this information out now. So you don't need to, if you're mandatory reporting, then it probably makes sense to line up with your financial year. But if you're reporting on a voluntary basis, which is most of the companies here in this room, then you can create this thing and publish it whenever you like. Whatever is the best time for your business. You may have a super busy season already at the end of the year in Q1. So okay, we don't want to do it then. We've actually got, there's a better time of year when this can fit in. So don't feel restricted to, conventions there.
That's true. Actually, the more important thing is the consistency, I think, rather than just following a particular agenda or a particular time. All right, James. I think at this point we are going to look into the Force report, right? I'm quite excited. I'm quite interested in seeing what it is and how it is built. Would you take us through it?
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. So we'll take a look at this now. This is just to help bring alive what a report can look like. And so we'll walk through a few of the pages. And we'll actually use that 2021 report, which was the initial report that won the prize, because this is the most simple version of their report. In 2022, 23, it starts to get a little bit more elaborate. There's more more data to report. There's more progress, and therefore it becomes a little bit longer and a bit more sophisticated. But this shows here's where you can start. And and I also have to say, this was a report of, in layout, kind of around 20 pages. But there's many companies that they will start at something much shorter than that, and that's fine as well. So the most important thing is to get started. And what the judges particularly liked about this report, they said it was open. So just talking about the challenges as well as the good stuff. It was easily accessible, so easy to find your way around the report and get the information you wanted. And then it was complete as well. It went around all of the key issues that are relevant to the business, and provided plenty of context for the reader to understand. So the first main part of the content is the opening letter from the CEO. So this is like the leadership statement where you're setting the scene for why are we doing this? Why is it important to the business? Adam even here talks about why it's important to him personally. He talks about like the commitment. Yeah, this is not something that we do for a few months. This is an ongoing process, and talking about the ambition, their commitment to keep sharing openly their progress. Here's some of the key issues that we're going to be working on over the coming years, and a couple of things that I'm particularly proud of in the progress that we've already made. So that's really what the CEO letter is doing, and it's setting the scene for the rest of the report. Another thing that really sets the scene for the rest of the report is a sort of a schematic or description of the value chain of the business, because sustainability is not just about the four walls of your operations, what's going on in your factory or in your office, but actually in your value chain, in your wider value chain. So this kind of schematic shows on the left hand side, okay, we're making pillows and duvets, and the cotton and the polyester and the polyethylene, that's coming from China or from Taiwan, and by ship and by boats and by truck. And then we make the pillows and duvets. Those are manufactured in Denmark, and then they are transported out by road and sea to consumers and retailers and distributors in Europe and beyond. So just a very, very simple overview so people can start to think, oh yeah, okay, well, how are things in China? Like cotton growing in China. I mean, is that are they using pesticides, or what are the labor conditions like out there? So we're starting to open people's minds to what is going on. And this schematic is then accompanied with a few paragraphs of description, just to elaborate a little further. The next part is what is known as the materiality assessment. You also hear the term double materiality assessment, but basically, and not every company has been through a formal process. This particular process called a materiality assessment. But the idea of this process is to get all of the main issues on the table, all of the environmental issues, the social issues that could be impacting the business, and prioritize them. And we prioritize them on the y-axis, the vertical axis, according to the expectations of stakeholders. And then on the horizontal aspects, the importance to FOSS-PLAY. So that's typically considering things like reputation and meeting financial objectives. So we score all of the different issues and plot them in this chart. And then the issues at the top right-hand corner, these are the priority issues that the program is going to address. And in the bottom left-hand corner, these are the issues that we're not really going to be paying much attention to because they are low priority for us. So that's that's certainly well worth including. And typically you would also include a description of the process that you've gone through to create that materiality assessment as well. and the purpose then is just to provide a full transparency. This is really the name of the game with sustainability reporting is transparency, and that's why it's this is not a marketing document. It is whereas marketing is look at the shiny stuff over here and don't look at what's going on in the corner over there. This is about transparency. It's about building trust. It's a different type of communication. So based on that materiality assessment, then Phosphoflakes has this program. It has like 4 different tracks to its program. So it has product sustainability, and that's because the product is actually where the biggest footprint of the business lies. So they want to create better performing products and packaging, and perhaps even rethinking some of their business models. Then they want to have low impact operations. So that's very much, like their factory in Denmark. So we're talking about energy efficiency and reducing water use and minimizing waste and those kind of issues. Responsible conduct, then that's looking outside. That's looking into the value chain, in particular the supply chain, and making, and trying to shine the light on down into their supply chain. How are those working conditions? How can we validate that those workers are being paid well, being treated well? The cotton, how is that being grown? Is it organically or conventionally or what? And then attractive workplace. That's again back inside the business. That's about how we're treating our employees and the steps that we want to take to make it a really great place to work. So those are the 4 tracks of their program. And then in the pages that follow, each of these 4 tracks has its own section. And the structure of that section is identical from one section to the next. So if we look at one of those sections, which we'll do in a moment, we can see how that is built up, and then it's just replicated. So let's do that. We'll take a look at the product section. So it starts with just like a nice clean page to say, okay, we're talking about products here, and here are the UN sustainable goals that we are supporting through our work in this area. By way of introducing our work on the product, we talk about why is this important? Well, because this is the biggest sustainability impact of our business. The focus areas, right, we're going to be looking at different materials. Can we start to move to organic or recycled materials and so on? What happens at the end of life of our product? Do they get thrown in nature, or do they get burned, or what happens there? And then remember, this was the 2021 report. So we're looking ahead, 3 years ahead. What are the goals for 2024? Where do we want to be 3 years from now? So we want to have like the lowest carbon footprint product on the market, for example. That was one of the goals for their product. So that's how we open the section. And then we get into the real kind of meat of it, as it were. Right, okay, so now we look at the constituent parts of the product, and what are we doing to make it better? So we look at the cotton shell, which is like the outer part of the duvet or pillow. Then you've got the filling material, and then you've got shipping, packaging, and then on the next slide you'll see a few more. But so then we take for example the cotton shell, and we say, well, where are we now? Right, okay, well, at the moment it is class 1 certified by Oikotex, which means that it's harmless, doesn't hurt your skin, there's no chemicals in it that are bad. So we got some good things to say, but then we say, right, but okay, but that product is, the cotton is produced conventionally. So we're going to, that means with pesticides and fertilizers. So in the next year, we want to investigate, okay, will our customers accept unbleached cotton? What can we do to investigate introducing organic cotton and so on? So then so when we step through each of the different materials in this fashion and talk about where are we now and what's coming next. And then on the next page, you'll see we could then go into the sales packaging. We talk about microplastics. Now, microplastics are actually not an issue for phosphonates, but they fill a lot of like the sort of the public mind share, or at least they did back in 2021. So we wanted to address that there and give people reassurance. Hey, we got this all under control because of X and Y. The same for product durability. And then they also say one of our big ambitions is to do a life cycle assessment on our product, which gives a really comprehensive scientific evaluation of how well a product performs environmentally. And then finally, we close off this section with the strategic initiatives for 2022. So what are we going to do in the next 12 months in order to bring us closer to our 2024 goals? And so being quite open about that, and then in the subsequent reports, being open about the ones where you've made progress and the ones where you actually haven't made the progress that you wanted to. But all of this just helps to generate the trust and transparency. So that's the structure. And then that is repeated across the 4 different steps, the 4 different tracks of the program. And then at the end, we just close the report with like a simple thanks for reading. Hope you got what you wanted. And by the way, we'd love to hear your feedback. You can get in touch with us this way because we want to have that. We want to know if we met your expectations or not. And by the way, you can follow our progress, our sustainability journey on these channels, and actually, because between reports, Phosphlex creates like a half-yearly update, not a full report, nothing like it, like an email and a social post and a couple of slides just to say here's the progress we've made in the first 6 months of the year, just to keep that dialogue going. And remind people that we're working on this.
Great. Thanks, James. That's great. Thank you for taking us through the report. Really like the clarity and the simplicity of the format that you have chosen. And yes, so I think also keeping everyone engaged by releasing half year updates. I think it's great. It's just like people don't forget that this is what the company is working on. So it's pretty good. So yeah, great job. Well done. So for those on the call that want to read the report in more details, where can we find it anywhere?
Yes, it's on the Phosphlex website, phosphlex.com, and there's a sustainability tab, and you can read you can read the 3 reports. You can also see how else they communicate around sustainability there. There are there's various different web pages.
Fantastic. Great. Okay, so thanks for that. So of course we're not all Phosphlex, so we might not have the exact same data, the exact same things to talk about, but what can we put in our reports? As you mentioned, James, even if you don't have a materiality assessment, you can still report. What you can report is really going to be driven by the data available to you. So what is readily available today, or what can you start collecting for the years to come? Another element that is very important is to think about the stakeholder expectations. I think what you described in the report about microplastic is a very good illustration of this. So Phosphlex knows that their customers want to hear about microplastics, even if it's not something that the company is directly responsible for or impacted, but you still address it in the report. So I think that shows that they know what the expectations are coming from their stakeholders. So it's important to think about, yes, what customers need to hear about and want to see, your investors, potentially your employees as well, and think about the industry as a whole. What are the norms in the industry, and what are the things that what are the main challenges that the industry or your industry is facing? So we can add quite a few elements into a report, and usually we look at three categories. So we've got ES and G, so environmental, social, and governance. And so there is definitely quite a few topics within those three main themes. So we're not going to go into the detail of them, but basically around environmental impact, you can look at climate change, so energy and greenhouse gas emissions. These are often things that we can report fairly easily on. If that's relevant to your business, you could look at water consumption. Waste is often something that we see as well. So really pick and choose the elements that are relevant to your industry as much as possible. If we look at the social end of social side of ESG, so there's often a lot of things that are being done in that space, and a lot of companies don't realize that they can report on these as well. So that's going to be whatever you do around employee well-being, diversity and inclusion, training and development. If your part of your supply chain is located overseas, do you take care of labor rights, human rights? So all of these elements can be included into your report. And then we've got the governance side of things as well, which is related to potentially your board. What's the composition of the board, diversity? Have you got a code of conduct? What are the policies and guidelines that are in place in your business? So all of these can be included into the report. I guess the other element, if you want to go to the next slide, is reporting standards. Yes, of course. So depending on your industry, it might make sense to follow a certain reporting standard to align with your industry. So again, of course, we're not as an SMB, we don't need to report from a mandate, like it's not mandatory to report, but if you follow what your industry is doing, this is quite relevant to follow the same sort of reporting standards. And also the reporting standard that you're going to choose is really going to depend on your audience. Are you trying to address a large audience or a very specific type of audience? So that can also help build that credibility that you need with the potential readers.
Can I just say a little word about numbers, because you've talked about
yes,
metrics,
of course.
and I think it's important to say in Phosplate's first report, there were very, very few numbers. I mean, we've just walked through the product section, and I don't think there were any numbers there. It was all a description of where we are and what we're going to do. In the next section, which was around the operations, like their factory, then there were a few numbers. They can figure out, find out how much electricity they've used, how much water. They estimated the amount of waste that they had from production. So they were starting to introduce some numbers there. But they actually, in their first report, they didn't even, they didn't translate those numbers into greenhouse gas emissions. But that came, in the second and third reports. They started to introduce more metrics, more numbers, more calculations. So this is a report that evolves as you evolve in your maturity in your sustainability journey. So you absolutely don't have to wait till everything is looking amazing and you've got something really super cool that you want to share. No.
Yes, that's for sure, and that keeps the motivation going as well. Because if you wait to have everything ready, that's going to potentially take a long time, and you want to make sure that you have that that interest building in the organization as well internally.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if we waited till everything was perfect, then we'd be waiting an extremely long time.
Of course.
So everyone understands that companies are playing catch up in this area. It's new. It's new, and we're behind the curve. That's of course why we got these issues in the world that we see. So you don't try and make out that everything is amazing, and definitely don't wait till everything is amazing, because that will take many years.
Absolutely. All right. So now that we've looked at what goes into the report, shall we have a quick look at how we're going to present that information?
Yeah, yes. Actually, this is a really good point, because I think a lot of companies, they will spend a lot of effort to gather all of the information together, but it's definitely worth spending a little bit of extra effort to make sure this looks good. Yeah, it's not a marketing document, but it is a branding document. This is a branded document that can improve the reputation of your business. If it's done the right way and you stick to the principles of transparency and completeness and so on, you will experience an improvement in your brand and the way you are perceived by your stakeholders. So that means, you're going to think about the style. Phosphates has got quite a simple, clean, Nordic, minimal style. Not everyone has got that style. So make sure it sounds obvious, but make sure your brand is expressed, in your report, and use the icons and colors and so on that are appropriate for your business. Then there's a second point, which is about photography. There's a lot of cliche images in photography, like the hand with the globe in it, or like the three little growing plants, like seedling plants in the pots. You've got to stay away from those things, because they are cliches. They are associated with greenwashing, and you need to, my strong recommendation would be stick with industry appropriate photography. So here, for example, you see okay, this is how the wool for this product is dyed. It's dyed by hand, by real people, and maybe even looks like a child's hand, out in the
Hope not.
out in the Far East, Southern Asia. So stick with authentic imagery, and this also includes your internal team. Like, make this, show your employees, show that here we are, we're a team, we're committed to doing this. Slowly but surely, we're making sure that everyone within our organization understands our role, and here we are, we're real people taking real action to move things forward. If you've got a lot of information that you want to share, perhaps like in a highlights page, you can create an infographic style page such as this. Another thing to do over the years, you'll typically find, okay, we've got more data, more numbers to report. We need to start introducing some tables. So that is a normal thing, where you can show, okay, here's where we were in 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24, etc. Or the various different categories there, and so people can see, are we going up and down, and you can describe the reasons why things are going up and down, and maybe even give a forecast. We expect this one to go up before it goes down. And then also, let's be realistic. Like some industries, it's going to be very difficult for them to truly be sustainable, and so Ganni is a fashion brand that acknowledges that, and they say, we're not a sustainable brand. We're working within fashion, but then they say, well, but we're making genuine efforts. Here are the different things that we're doing. Here are our targets, and they create their annual sustainability report. So authentic communication. Not trying to pull the wool over people's eyes and think that, okay, things are better than they really are, because people will smell a rat as fast as you can imagine.
Yes, and I think what you mean really, it's we can have a report without being boring, right? It can be fun, and it can be easy to read as well. I suppose there's one caveat here, is to make sure that we avoid greenwashing as well. So very often those that create the reports, or that style the report, or put the elements together, are the marketing or communication team. And as marketers, we tend to have bias. We tend to want to show things in a better light than they actually are, and that can be a problem when we talk about sustainability, because we want to be as truthful and as authentic as possible. And this is really, yeah, a lot of marketing resources are not necessarily well versed in sustainability. And you might be doing all the right things, and this is the step that can trip you over and wipe out all the efforts that you've spent over the years, because a lot of greenwashing is actually unintentional. So you want to do the right thing, but taking shortcuts, and yes, you end up greenwashing. So it's important to use the relevant guidelines that exist in your own country. For Australia, we've got the ACCC, which is the regulator that has released guidelines around 8 principles. But pretty much across the board, it's in a nutshell the same thing. So basically, you don't lie, don't exaggerate, don't hide anything, and substantiate anything that you're claiming. If you follow these rules, in theory, you shouldn't have any problem. But it's very important to pay a lot of attention in what the claims that you put forward.
Yeah, yeah, and basically what you want to avoid is creating a better impression than what is the reality. That's
right.
Yeah, and that can be a little bit difficult as a marketer. Julie and I are both marketers as well, but it's a different mindset with a sustainability report. There is, when communicating about sustainability, there is a much higher bar in terms of the accuracy and precision of the words and the communication that you're using. It's very significant, but by meeting that bar, you're enhancing your brand. You're doing the right thing. You're moving the agenda, the sustainability agenda forward. Globally, inch by inch, but also, helping your business and helping your trust holders, your stakeholders to trust what they're reading.
Yes.
Okay. Now, once a sustainability report is a fantastic platform for then creating more tailored materials to each of your stakeholders. So what do your investors want to see? What do your employees want to see? Your customers? And I just wanted to show like a small example of from Fussplates how they use their sustainability report. In the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a slide deck. So these are slides that they use to customers and employees to tell about the journey and how far they've come and what they're working on. On the left-hand side there, you'll see a web page where again they introduce their program. The black strip, that is just some stills from a video that they made, just again just to sort of to tease and introduce that they're working with sustainability and some of the issues that are most important to them. And then the 2 little squares, those are actually some ads that they've created, to post out on Facebook, for example, to again start to profile the business based on all of the good stuff that is in the report. And the report then acts as the document that you can point to as the evidence for the progress that you're making. So that's how the report and the marketing and sales materials are going to work with each other. So I think we're getting very close to the end and also getting out of time. But I think we just should have a word about process, because if you're going to do this, how long is it going to take? Who needs to be involved? So, okay, how long is it going to take? Well, I've been involved with sustainability reports that have done in as fast as 2 weeks, and perhaps also taken as much as 4 months. So there's an element of how fast do you need to go? Do you need to get some information out really, really fast, or is your timetable? We can fit this in around the other things that we're doing in the business, and how much have we got to report on? So But first step, is planning, and so then you're going to have a project manager, that you'll have a project sponsor who is typically somebody who's on the C level of the organization, and then I'm working with with my customers to help create that really great plan so that we've got a smooth process going forward. Step 2 is then collecting all the information. That's not just numbers. There will be some numbers, but there will also be some narrative on the actions that we're taking and what are the next steps and so on. And then you start to go out to your functional managers within the business who are responsible for turning the strategy into action to gather that information. Step three then is analyzing and drafting the report. That's where someone like me is going to come in and crunch all of this together into some some text and some charts and some diagrams and so on, and then you're going to go ahead and review that and approve it, and perhaps that and all the people within the organization who've been involved are going to want to check that what is in the report is accurate and reflects reality. And and you may also want to get that approved at board level as well. So, and then we've got some some approximate timescales. 15% of the total time, for example. Just want to double click on step 1, planning, because a smooth process starts with a solid plan. This is where you're going to get clarity on your stakeholder groups and expectations. So you need to understand how this report is going to support the overall business strategy. You're going to identify any reporting frameworks that you're going to follow. What is the content and how it will be organized? So you have like a content plan. Okay, we're going to have these sections, and in this section we're going to have these items, and that informs the specific metrics that you're going to include, and therefore the information you're going to have to collect from different corners of your organization, which then tells you, right, well, these people need to be involved, and this is going to be their role in the project, and put together a process and a time frame that is going to meet your needs. And we would love to help you get started with that process. For a small business which is quite straightforward, we can help you get started with that for around 5,000 krona or 1,000 Australian dollars. If it's a larger organization, more complexity to it, then it's going to be higher than that. But by all means, get in touch with us. We would love to help you out. Not just get a solid start, but we can also help you out through the entire journey if you would like us to as well. And that would be for Denmark and Europe. Get in contact with me, and for Australia, get in contact with Julian.
Fantastic. Yes, absolutely. Feel free to reach out. We almost ran on a dot now. So I've seen a few questions on the chat. Sorry, we don't have the time to go through them, but we can do that offline. That's not a problem. So I think we can wrap up. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. I really hope that it was useful, and then you got something out of it. If there is any other question that you want answers to, feel free to send us an email, contact us, and it will be with pleasure that we would answer those questions. So everyone, have a great day or a great evening, and we'll see you soon, I hope. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.